Hi, my name is Danielle with Rallybound, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how you would upload offline donations in bulk. Now right now I'm in the back-end system of our peer-to-peer 5K campaign. What I will want to do is go to Transactions Donations, and you will see the option to upload a CSV. When you select this option, you will either be able to upload a CSV or you can download a CSV sample template. Now, I already have a sample template downloaded. It's right here. When you look at it, it might be a little hard to read, which makes sense. What makes it easier for me when I am looking at a file like this is to transpose the headers, which means that I change them from lying vertically to lying horizontally. And you can do that by putting your mouse in cell A1, and you can either drag all the way over, you can select the first column and then click shift and scroll over. However you would like to capture all of these fields, you would just make sure they're highlighted. And then you would want to right click and select copy. Now once you select copy, I like to open up a different sheet just to make sure that I keep the first sheet clean. I'm going to go back to column A1 and I'm going to right click, and then I have these paste options, and one of the paste options is transpose, which means that I'll lay the headers down vertically. Now I can see what the data is that I'm going to be entering on this specific sheet. And let's just go through these headers together very briefly. Donor ID, if you know that this was somebody who had made a donation before, you would be able to go and find that record. You would find that record by going to the back-end system, and I'm just going to use an example of Shmuley. I'm going to select his name and I'll see donor. And when I click on the record, I will see the user ID, which is the donation ID that I'm going to want to enter. I would copy that over by the same method, selecting, right click and saying copy, and then I'm going to go to my Excel file, click in the cell that I want to paste it, right click, and then say paste, and then the value is there. If this is a new donor and you don't want to have the donation tied to the person, to a specific person, you can just leave that blank. Then you would go through and you would fill out the information: first name, last name, company name if relevant. If it's not relevant, feel free to leave that value blank. For example, donor's name to display on site. I think I'm just going to leave that blank. They can use my name. I can put in an address. If you don't have one, you can just leave it blank. And then this can be really helpful if, let's say, you got a check for a corporate sponsorship and the address is going to be the same for everybody. You can copy and paste all those values over, and it will keep you from having to go and enter all of this information manually. I can put the donation date. I'll just put today's date. Donation amount, $100. Donation type. Now this can be a little bit confusing. So it says donation type, general, team, or member. What that's really meaning is general donation, a team donation, or a fundraiser donation. And to make sense to that, we'll go to the back end again, and I'm going to click on the new donation. Here it has donating to, and when you select general or you select member, you'd have the option of filling in additional detail. Now the report doesn't do a good job of indicating that there's a separation of fields there, and so just so that way you know, if you don't have the donation associated with a specific person or a specific team, you can leave that blank or you can just enter general. If it is going to be associated with a specific person, you would need to look up their member ID or their team ID in the same way that I had looked up Shmuley's record. You would have to enter payment type. This is one of the mandatory fields, and this is another example where we don't do as good of a job as we could indicating that these are different options. Now the payment type are all of the payment types that are listed here: credit card, offline credit card, check, cash, in-kind, and wire. So on my file that I was working on, I would need to enter what it is. Now, please note offline credit card, there's no space in between. And so if you want to use offline credit card, make sure that you don't add an extra space. I'm going to make it simple and say cash. Put additional information. A donor's name or donation is verified. This is important because only verified donations will show up on the progress bar or reflect on the front of the campaign. And this, say your goal is $1,000 and I'm donating 100, you would want that to reflect. Also, if this donation is going towards a specific team or a fundraiser or member, then it won't reflect on their individual page unless the donation is verified. So I'm going to say donation is verified by entering true. I can enter donor's name is anonymous. If I leave it blank, then it's going to assume that it is not. Donation amount is anonymous. Same idea. Donation is corporate sponsorship, true or false. If I leave it blank, it's going to assume false. Donation is pledge, true or false. Admin comment, if there's anything that I want to know on the back end, then I can add that information and it will be associated with the donation record. And then don't sync. And the don't sync is important if you're connected to a CRM system, because a lot of times what our customers do is, especially when they're just starting off with Rallybound, is they might move legacy information over onto the Rallybound system, and this information for the donations, transactions already exist within their donor database and they don't want them to exist again. And so you can have those reflect on the front end of the site and not have it sync to your CRM or donor database by just selecting the option of true. So I have the information for the donation. Being that I had transposed, I'm going to have to transpose the information back. So I'm just going to select this data, going to the donation tab, and then I'm going to right click and select transpose. It's going to save the information. On a CSV file, you can only have one tab, and so I need to go and I need to delete this extra tab. I have the one tab. Now I'm going to go File, Save As. I'm just going to save it as donations, make sure it's a CSV file, comma delimited, and I'm going to say yes, it's going to save it. Now here I am on my donations. I want to upload CSV. I entered the path for the file. Now I'm going to say download or upload. When I upload, donations uploaded, and I should be able to see the donation here. And I entered Shmuly's name, which is who the donor was, and now I can see right here 713 Shmuel Pinson, General Fund, $100 cash, and it is verified. If you have any questions about the steps that I went through in the process, please reach out and let us know. And otherwise, happy fundraising!